Washington is a city in search of a smile. And today, the largest crowd ever to see a sporting event in the capital turned out to see the city's only major league team, the Redskins. That they could evoke this response is due to one man, George Allen. Allen has turned the team into the surprise story of the year, and he has done it following a football philosophy that sets him apart from all others in the pro game. Allen came from Los Angeles, and with him he brought several of his favorite Rams, plus other familiar names such as Pardee, Pettibone, Mason, Vaughn, McDowell, and Dowler. They are known in Washington as the Over-the-Hill Gang, but it's no joke. Their team is in first place with an undefeated record, and today will be trying to achieve something a Washington club hasn't in 28 years, win its first 4 games. They've done it despite losing quarterback Sonny Jurgensen in preseason, but it's been the defense that has excelled. The Skins trail only the powerful Vikings in defense in the NFC. This from a team that finished last in almost every defensive category the previous year. When he joined Washington in January, Allen vowed to put heat on enemy passers, and he succeeded famously. Today, on a gray, rainy Sunday, Washington's new strength was to be tested by one of the largest teams in football, the Houston Oilers. I'm Bob Delaney, and this is the NFL Game of the Week, the Washington Redskins versus the Houston Oilers. The Redskins' first series set the tone for the entire game when quarterback Billy Kilmer passed to Charlie Taylor in the flat for a first down. Although the play was successful, it started a trend of inopportunism on offense for Washington. A repeat shows Taylor had only one man to beat, but slipped trying to cut, or he might have gone all the way. On the very next play, Kilmer went to his other wide receiver, Roy Jefferson, on a bomb that was placed perfectly. The play covered 47 yards to the Houston 15. 2 plays, and Washington had their opponents reeling. But now, with the goal line simply yards away, the Oilers' huge defense stiffened. Houston's front line stacked up Charlie Haraway, but Houston was penalized for offsides, and Washington had a first down at the 10. On 2 successive plays, Kilmer went to his ace runner, Larry Brown, but Houston held. New Oiler coach Ed Hughes, a former Redskin, has gone for beef up front. And in Alan Aldridge, Mike Tilleman, Ron Billingsley, and Elvin Bethay, he has it. They average well over 270 pounds. A third down end zone pass was out of the reach of Jerry Smith, so Washington had to settle for a Kurt Knight field goal from the 15. Houston had held, and Washington came away with just 3 points. The Oilers don't have a lot of speed, but one man Washington wanted to keep the ball away from is Ken Burrow. Houston has put 0-0 back on kickoffs, but this time the slippery turf took care of the breakaway threat. Burrow fell on his own 11, putting Houston in a hole. George Allen's defense had excellent field position. This has been an important factor in the previous 3 Redskin games. Allen's offense has benefited tremendously from both good field position or turnovers caused by the defense. George Allen has made many changes not only in the front 4, but also the linebacking position. Joining holdover Chris Hanberger are number 66 middle linebacker Myron Patios and left backer Jack Pardee. What Allen gets from these men is more than talent. They know his system, believe in it, and make it work. Houston discovered it quickly. Washington's second line on defense was everywhere, and Houston could go nowhere. On second down, number 56, Bob Young, took out number 32, Pardee, but Patios came over fast to reduce this gain to minor yardage. On third down, Charlie Johnson tried to pass for the first time today, and again found the front 4 and linebackers in evidence. The Oilers had met the new Washington defense. Washington took over with great field position and on the first play appeared to take advantage of it. But Charlie Taylor's triumph turned to chagrin. The yellow nylon signified holding, and instead of a touchdown, Washington had a first down on the Houston 35. Once again, the Oilers' defense had it when it needed it. They refused to relinquish a first down, and once again, Kurt Knight was called upon. His kick from the 36 was good, and Washington was ahead 6-0. Houston had discovered it couldn't run against the Washington defense, so Johnson took to the air in this series. His first pass bounced in front of Charlie Joyner. An isolated view of Johnson just as he released the ball shows why. Darren Talbert won't be credited with a sack in the day's statistics, but nevertheless, his tackle broke up the play. On second down, Johnson finally hit the pass he wanted, a slant to Joyner, who ran into teammate Burrow, or he might have gone further. Despite this, Houston had its first down. Another isolated look at Johnson on the play shows something fans seldom notice. A quarterback rarely sees a completed pass. First and 10, and Johnson speared his big tight end Alvin Reed over the middle into Washington territory for the first time today. Houston was rolling now, and Johnson went back to Reed again on the same pass over the middle, but the results were not the same. A repeat of this key play shows Johnson split the seams between the linebackers beautifully, but Reed paid for it on a tackle by Patios and lost the ball. The Washington defense had made the breaks again. Jack Pardee, number 32, the man who recovered the fumble and later would intercept a pass, said after the game, when your offense is only so-so, the defense has to carry the load. This is the way championships are won. A good quarterback takes advantage of opportunity, and Billy Kilmer turned to his two fine runners. Number 31, Charlie Haraway, is the perfect complement to last year's leading runner, Larry Brown, number 43. Watch Haraway's block on the cornerback on two consecutive plays that produce short yardage and a first down. Then, with the defense wary of the run, Kilmer stung the Oilers with a pass to Taylor over the middle for 43 yards. In one quick strike, Washington was on their opponent's 20-yard line. A repeat of the play shows Houston's linebackers blitzing, but Kilmer had good protection. Taylor was well covered by Benny Johnson and finally caught from behind by Ken Houston. The second period began, and once again in the shadow of their own goal line, the Houston defense got tough. Kilmer couldn't move the ball on two straight running plays, so on third down, he went to Charlie Taylor, who again got behind the cornerback Johnson. Unfortunately, he was out of the end zone. The pass was incomplete, and Washington again had to settle for Kurt Knight's 3 points. In the middle of the second quarter, and trailing by a 9-0 score, Charlie Johnson tried to hit Burrow long on a third down possession pass, but Pat Fisher was right with him. The Washington defense trudged off the field again, having done their job well, but the specialty teams soon let them down. Last year, Washington kick returning was practically non-existent. Redskin kick runners averaged only 1.7 yards per punt return, for the worst mark in the league. So George Allen brought in Speedy Duncan from San Diego, and Ted Vactor, number 29, developed into one of the league leaders. On this return, however, Vactor coughed up the ball, and Houston had their first big break of the ball game. The ball on the Washington 24. Johnson seemed determined to go to Ken Burrow, but again he was well covered, and Johnson overthrew him. So on the vital third down play, Johnson threw to his backs for the first time and hit Leroy Sledge for a first down. Two plays later, it was third down again, and Johnson was chased by the entire Redskin line. But he managed to get a pass off, and it was somehow caught by rookie Sledge for the touchdown. Houston had pulled within 2 points, 9-7. On their next series, Washington couldn't move the ball, and on the sidelines, Kilmer sought the advice of the old pro, Sonny Jurgensen. Perhaps Sonny said just leave it to the defense, because on Houston's first play, a screen that never developed, 11-year veteran Ron McDowell, number 79, intercepted the pass and rolled 18 yards for the score. The Washington defense again had bailed out their offensive counterparts. Later, in the locker room, McDowell, who was obtained in a trade from Buffalo, said, "For our defense to do the job right, I feel we have to get the ball 3-4 times a game. I think we did the job today." But Houston wasn't finished. With just seconds left on the clock, Mark Mosley tried a long field goal. Charlie Taylor's reaction tells the story of his attempt. The ex-Eagle place kicker had made a 42-yard kick. So Washington went into the locker room at halftime with merely a 6-point lead. The Redskins had at times moved the ball well, and indeed they had scored 4 times. Yet Houston was somehow right behind them, 16-10. Though they were ahead by 6, 16-10, the Redskins must have awaited the second half with some trepidation. Would George Allen's 3-game bubble burst at the hand of the winless Houston Oilers? It seemed as if it might. The Redskins' offense opened the third quarter as they had closed the second, unable to control the game with their 1-2 backfield tandem of Brown and Haraway. And Billy Kilmer's first attempted pass of the second half ended in disaster. He hit his man Jerry Smith, but Smith coughed the ball over to the Oilers. Another view of the play showed that Kilmer had the time and Smith had the hands, but safety Ken Houston made Smith forget everything. Garland Boyette scooped up the gift, and the Oilers now were in excellent position to take the lead at the Skins' 27. Leroy Sledge seemed to be the Oilers' only effective strategy today. On 2 plays, he took the ball to the 5. But here, a holding penalty literally killed the Oilers, and they had to end up settling for 3 instead of 7. The Redskins now led 16-13. The Redskins offense this season has been content to play a basic ball control game. With Kilmer at quarterback, George Allen has de-emphasized the pass, and the results have proved him smart thus far. However, against the Oilers, the strategy was not effective, and in the third quarter, the Redskins only managed one first down running or passing. The Houston front four, Aldridge, Tilleman, Billingsley, and Bethea, are young, fast, and mammoth. Averaging 6'6" and 270 pounds, they harassed Billy the Kid Kilmer all day and made him lose his cool on occasion. Nothing was working for Kilmer and the offense, but the Redskins defense continued to keep them in the game. The Redskins came into the game third in the NFC against the pass, and their secondary lived up to that rank against the Oilers. Good pressure from the line also helped force many bad passes by Johnson, and all the Oilers could muster for the rest of the quarter was a field goal try by Eagle castoff Mark Mosley. It too failed, as number 45 Speedy Duncan ran it out. Duncan had always been one of the best return men in the AFC and came to Washington last year, giving them depth on one of Allen's favorite weapons, the return teams. Late in the quarter, the Oilers tried to mount another drive, but Johnson met disaster. Pressured by Talbert, Johnson forced his pass to the flat, and Jack Pardee picked it off, setting up the Skins on the Oiler 13. Another view of the play showed that Pardee covered his man perfectly, timed his move, and made a textbook play by a linebacker covering a setback. George Allen's old man theory was never more in evidence here, and never more correct. What Pardee may lack in size and speed at age 35, he more than makes up for in experience and wisdom. And he gave Allen's offense the ball on the 13 as the third quarter ended. The Redskins offense, however, was once again unable to convert the turnover. Larry Brown just couldn't find room to run. Brown's short gain could have been even shorter. Watch the Redskins right guard number 60, John Wilbur, brush block his man, then roll out and throw another block on still another Oiler defender. A rare Kilmer pass on 3rd and 7 from the 10 just missed its mark in Charlie Taylor. The Redskins had to settle for a field goal and a 19-13 lead. The Oilers' next series was typical of their entire day offensively. They would carve out one big gainer, as Sledge did here, but then would die. They made only 4 first downs in the second half and only 11 on the day, as the Redskins defense, second best in the NFC, constantly shut off any attempt at consistency from Houston's ground game. The secondary continued to blanket Charlie Johnson's receivers, while the front four continued to meet at the quarterback, dumping Johnson twice, but pressuring him constantly. All this hard hitting by the Redskins came to fruition midway through the final quarter. Hit by Hamburger and Patios, Oiler receiver Walt Frazier lost his reception, and Hamburger recovered and the Skins took over on the Oilers' 36. But Houston held, and on 4th and 1, leading by 6, Allen met with Kilmer and decided to go for the field goal. The decision was good. The kick was not. Although his teammate tried to help the decision, Knight knew better. The Redskins still led by 6. But Kurt Knight would have his day. 2 minutes later, he had another chance. Watch his concentration. He never looks up till the ball is near the uprights. Knight, who spells his name like Sir Galahad, had indeed redeemed himself, setting a Redskin record with 5 three-pointers. Knight is a convert from soccer style to orthodoxy, and he's given Washington a 9-point lead with 5 minutes to play. If the Oilers could score promptly, they were still very much in the game, and Coach Hughes inserted the rookie Dan Pastorini to try to pull it off. But on his first pass, Pastorini hammered the final spike into the Oilers' coffin. Mike Bass's interception was the big play of the day, as the Redskins' defense time and again had foiled the best-laid plans of the Oilers with the turnover. They forced in all 2 fumbles and 3 interceptions, and this, more than anything else, sealed the Oilers' fate. Now, with 3 minutes left, the Redskins' offense had only to run out the clock. 3 minutes is a long time, but now when they needed to control the ball most, they did. Ron McDowell and a happy Redskin defense watched Haraway and Brown run out the clock to give Washington its 4th straight victory, a feat they last accomplished 28 years ago. They are now the only undefeated team in pro football, and it's shown they could win on an off day, the mark of a championship team. So as his team headed down what may soon be called Allen's Alley, Coach George Allen must have been extremely satisfied. 4 down and 10 to go. And just think, Sonny Jurgensen will soon be ready to take the field for the first time this season. Final score, Redskins 22, Oilers 13.